Well, I'm going to do one more today, and I'm going to parse some of this further because I think it's important. And it's important for me, too, to come to terms with some of these memories because I spent 20 years of my marriage asking people why they didn't come and visit. And in fact, when they had me handcuffed down at the police department, I said to some of the police officers involved, how come you never stopped up to the lake? Y'all like to go camping. Some of the ladies didn't like to go camping, but their children did. So I had a lake house, and I was constantly told that I was not good enough for everybody to come and visit as the years went on. It became very isolating. And this is part of the abuse, to keep you isolated so you don't actually really know what's going on. Because some of this stuff was when I was a kid, and I was often blamed because I was all by myself. My mother was only married a year, so it was just me. And then I had this huge blended family that I had to deal with, and they were pretty abusive at times. And as the years went by, I would ask, how come I wasn't invited to reunions? How come I wasn't allowed to go to funerals? How come this and that? But everybody knew the Bays family. They were a popular family. Bud Bays was a very talented wedding cake person, that made these beautiful, exquisite wedding cakes. He had a lot of friends. The Megnas were his friends. Isn't that right? But I was recently dragged across the parking lot. Okay, so all these people were his friends, but none of them convinced him that he needed to get treatment. So I would sit there and I would listen to this man because this is what went on. And it was all a joke, wasn't it, everybody? So now it continues to be a joke, making up things why I can't see some of these children in the family. I can't see my nieces. I can't see other people's children. And in fact, some of these officers' mothers continue to this day to tell me, well, you kept his friends away. So we're going to continue to talk about how I kept my ex-husband's friends away, which was a total lie. And the last time my mother's boyfriend, her other boyfriend, Don Hart, was up there, said, well, your mother doesn't want Anna and Abby here, my other my half family, the nieces. Well, why is that? And this kind of stuff has gone on for a long time. So nobody came to visit over the years. And these children grew up believing that they couldn't come and visit me up to the lake. So now they're all up to the lake, and it's all fun to go up to the lake. But when I was up there and I had my lake house, they made up all this stuff with the neighbors, and my mother's out partying with the neighbors up there, and everybody's having a good old time with my other family in Birch Haven, and everybody's having a great time, but nobody can come and visit me. And I still can't get answers for this. And whenever I ask my half family, they can go see Bud. They went to see Vinny. They went to see all these other relatives. Well, where were you, Holly, and your whole entire family when Renee lay dying? Huh? Where were all these people? They weren't in the hospital, were they? And you came laughing and joking to the funeral, and Mr. Flanagan wouldn't even go to the funeral. So we have a lot to unravel because I'm just starting to learn the truth about some of this stuff because y'all been hiding and lying and making up a bunch of filth down at the police station so I get denied all my assets. And I'm sitting here without a place to live once again because you started all this filth in Broad Albin too. With the neighbors, with Joe Marie Prokoff there, with my mother, with all this stuff in Amsterdam, and it's got to stop because I should be able to see some of the kids in the family too once in a while. And this has been ongoing, constant filth behind my back that I didn't know about. And it's pretty repugnant when I can be locked up in jail and I got people attacking me that are friends of yours. The Meesiks, Marie Raleigh, all these COs that I was never even friends with, making up stuff about me, denying my assets, taking my dog, taking my car, throwing me out of my apartment, making up all these horrible lies about me. It's got to stop. And children are growing up with the same thing again. I have your son coming down, Holly, and offering me $20, and you think that's a joke about prostitution? Do you think it's a joke to be in a dirty parking lot in 8-degree below zero weather, and not one of you would come over and offer to give me a ride or a cup of coffee or anything because y'all thought this was funny and you were going to make this out to be like somehow I had mental health issues? Well, some of this is coming out jumbled because I can't believe that I have to discuss all this stuff because of of your inability and your family's inability to come to terms with their inappropriate behavior. And I'm not going to get into all the dirty stuff that Bud used to do, but there's been a lot of stories over the year, Holly, of the inappropriateness in your family that you actually have told me right out of your mouth, and you continue to do it. You continue to make threats with your new boyfriend or husband or whatever this Roger Theron is. You continue to make threats with other people, Nancy. You continue to make threats with your friends at the YWCA or on State Street, and it's got to stop. Because I've been continually harassed by these people. I have continual problems with your family, and you refuse to own up to some of this stuff that has absolutely nothing to do with me other than the lies. Okay? We can talk about sexual abuse in the family, and it didn't come from me. You need to own it. Your relatives need to own it, and you need to stop lying about me, because it's got to stop. Because I shouldn't have to be ashamed to try to see Anna or Abby or Bentley or some of all the other kids in the family because you went around and you said this filthy stuff. You were up there hanging out with Donna Kuber and that whole gang, with Wendy Bujanowski, Lori, some of these people that admitted to sexual dysfunction of their own, and yet they go around and they trash talk me all the time and prevent me from seeing people or living my life or doing what I need to do, just like your half-sister and her husband, Tony. Okay? So I'm going to continue to talk about some of this because more children shouldn't be damaged by this type of behavior. More children shouldn't have to go through what I went through as a victim and then constantly smearing it up like I'm the perpetrator. You know who the perpetrator is. Georgia knows who the perpetrators are. She gets on Twitter and says she can't understand why somebody could abuse children. Really, Georgia? We've been through this, and I don't see you calling me up and talking about bearing false witness, because I heard that my entire childhood from you. So who's bearing false witness now? This continues, and you need to stop. I would have moved on. It was just a divorce. You were all divorced and you moved on with your life, but you're not letting me do that because you continue to bear false witness, and it has to stop.